Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blind Spots. I'm Gail McDonald, and I am here today, 2 days before Christmas. Oh my gosh. I don't know about some of you, but it seems that every year I know what's going to happen on December 25th, and it just sneaks up. And it seems that after Remembrance Day on November 11th, it just is at your doorstep. So today is just more of a light and easy, wishing you all happy holidays and maybe a little bit about how we could make it stress free. But that topic's been, I think, over talked about quite a bit. And I did find that I was having a challenge as to what to say about Christmas and what can we say about Christmas. Well, a lot, and so much of it has already been said. And I find sometimes when I'm struggling with what to talk about on a topic that I start with gratitude, and that seems to open up a lot of dialogue for a variety of different things. And I find too that we can't ever talk enough about gratitude and the importance of it. And I think what I'd like to start with, what came to mind was the fact that I'm a newbie podcaster. I have had a talk show prior to this, but it's a little bit different. And I just wanted to thank everyone that took the time to join me as a guest on the podcast, to get it started, to share their wisdom and the different topics that were talked about. And I just really want to give a shout out to those folks because we are all very busy. And it does take time behind the scenes to prepare and to discuss what's possibly going to be said, which doesn't always happen. Things just go in another direction, and that's the fun of having a podcast. You get to, right? You get to go left, right, and everywhere down the middle. And because people are so busy, but they choose to make time from their calendars, I just think that's the greatest gift that anyone can show you is their gift of time, their gift of engagement, their gift of respect and showing up and just wanting to be with you in a certain space. So y'all know who you are that has come on the show. I won't create the lengthy list, but I do want to acknowledge everybody and that helped me get this podcast going. And beyond that, I also feel that it's important to show gratitude, not just feel it. And that was also said on one of the podcasts. And I just feel that there's no better gesture you can do for someone, and I do it purely to get a smile from someone. And what I typically do each year is the services that I use, I'll give them a token of my appreciation. I go to a very small gym, so even to show up there with a box of chocolates or whatever it is, it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It's just the thought. And it just amazes me how people just feel so very grateful just to be acknowledged. And particularly in the climate where I lived, I've probably complained about that way too much up to now. But it's very bitter some days. And lately we've been living in a deep freeze. I can't do the conversion easily, but I live in a Celsius country, and it has been anywhere between maybe minus 21 to minus 30 and a bit with the wind chill. And I refuse absolutely to go out unless it's an absolute emergency. So I just go online and have stuff delivered, and those folks work really hard as well. So it's important to understand that when people are being of service, that showing them gratitude just truly makes your day, and it makes my day to know that I've made someone else's day as well. And that's my gift to me is giving gifts to others. Another thing I was thinking about Christmas is it comes every year at the same time. And yet we are shocked at how quickly it comes, as I just said. And then sometimes they're caught with their pants down going, oh, darn it, I forgot that gift for someone. Or I wanted to get this type of dessert, and the stress that we tend to put on ourselves can be really overwhelming. And I do appreciate Mel Robbins' book about the let them theory and just how she talks about letting others do what they do and you do what you do. And it's complex. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that. But there's certain things that we can just let go if things aren't perfect with, who's coming to dinner, who's coming to this event, who's not coming, where do they sit? Are they going to get along? Are they going to argue? It's not up to us. We have no control over that. We do have control over our own standards and setting boundaries, but the way other people behave is really, really very difficult to control. And it seems that emotions run very high, all of them. Some of you may be familiar with the feelings wheel, and there's so many emotions that us humans tend to have and display on a very regular basis. And we're just a little bit more sensitive over the holidays with everything. And what I feel I've chosen to do, or what I'd like to really pay some attention to this year, is really practicing some of the things that I have learned and have been practicing, but make them even a little bit better. If it's 1%. And I find the one thing that I really appreciate focusing on is reserving my comment. And some of you may be familiar with the 90-second rule that I've shared with you over time. Um, and just learning that I don't have to have a comment on everything. And there are some things that just don't matter. And particularly at Christmas, there's so many different ways that people do practice over the holidays. There's different traditions, and some people are very stuck in that tradition. And, stuck maybe wasn't the right word, but they really, really feel strongly about that tradition. And as an example, my husband prefers a real tree. I could really care less as long as there's a tree. However, I get to clean up the mess, so that's what that's what I don't really love about it. I've already got pine needles showing up in my underwear, so yeah, it's his tradition and he loves it. And some of you may know that real Christmas trees aren't cheap, so I just feel like I should take the $150 and throw it into the fireplace because we have it for 1 week. However, my point being is sometimes it's not necessarily just about the money. If that provides joy for him and seeing him happy provides joy for me, then how can I expand beyond just what my needs are and what I'm thinking? At the end of the day, does it really, really matter? And these are just some things that are coming to me as I'm sharing with you. And that all came from gratitude. So I'm not really certain what else there is to say about Christmas. I do know that this is the last episode for the year because I'm going to be skipping a week and taking some time off to think of how I can move forward with blind spots in the new year. The first episode of the year is January 6th. And what I thought would be fitting, I'll just give you a little bit of a teaser into that, is if you are considering making a change in the new year of the type of work that you might like to do, there's a gal that I met a little while back, and she's got quite an interesting story on that. So I'd really like to put it out there to those of you that are thinking you might want to change direction or look for new work or whatever it might be. And that leads me to thinking about New Year's resolutions, which I don't make because I can't keep them, and I choose not to do things that would have the potential to make me feel bad because I really do much prefer to feel good more often than not. And that again is a skill in itself that I'm working on, is when I do get those thoughts that might make me feel not so great, it's like, how can I reframe that to changing how I'm feeling in the moment, which I'm learning is absolutely 100% doable, but it's a choice and it's a skill and it takes some work. So resolutions or possibly intentions. And I prefer to say intentions because I can set an intention and it doesn't kind of tie me into it. And if I choose to change that intention or just forget about it altogether, then I get to, and I feel good about that. It's like, well, this was my intention, but as I'm moving along here, is this really what I intended it to be? Is this really what I wanted? Is this really the direction I want to go? However, keep one thing in mind that if you set an intention and you give yourself that freedom of choice, whatever happens throughout your progress as you're working towards that intention, you're still learning something that can help you as you're moving forward. Nothing is ever a wash at all. So just do it and give it some thought. We don't want to be just jumping off the edge of the cliff, knowing we don't have a parachute, but give yourself some slack. And if there was another thing that I thought might be helpful is create an intention that if you feel that you failed with an intention you've set up for yourself, and the new year is kind of a good start. January 1, I mean, it's just a cool habit that we've adjusted to over the years. But how can you perceive failure differently? So I think where I'm going with this is um, as the new year approaches, give consideration to just having a little bit of a mind shift. Like I said, 1%, it helps. If you want to be a little bit more extroverted or maybe come out of your shell a little bit more, start talking to the cashier at the supermarket, or at the very least, just say, "Hi, how's your day going?" It doesn't have to be anything huge. I do feel like I'm a little bit all over the map, and I am. I'll be the first to admit it, but that might be the journey that some of you might have to take, is just to think about a variety of different things. I also realize one more thing as well is that, as I've shared with you often, that I've read and listened to a multitude of books. And after I finish the book I'm currently reading by Gabor Mate, I'm going to put the books down for a little bit, and I just want to let things settle in, absorb, reconsider, think about things, and think about possibly the one thing that I might like to pay a little bit more attention to, give a little bit more thought to. My belief is that I can always, and always and never are words I'm usually hesitant to use, but I can always get better. I can always do something differently in another way, perhaps look at it from a different perspective, and just chill with it and just relax and just keep moving forward. So I think that's pretty much all I have to say about Christmas. And and I do enjoy it. It's lots of fun. I'm learning to relax. And I did have this thought about how some of you might be making your Christmas easier, whether it's shopping or food prep or whatever it is. And if you're inclined, just send me an email to Gail at blindspotscoaching.ca. I'll compile it and perhaps I can post it, because I think January is a really good time to start getting ready for Christmas the next year. And how do I do that? I last year went through all my decorations and just really went all out and got rid of the old ones, the broken ones, the tangled lights, and put everything away neatly, labeled it, knew what it was. And this year, pulling things out was so easy. Putting them away is going to be even easier. So that's a logical place to start. And it just really does take the stress away, because it's the time where we have a lot to do. We have a lot of extra things to do, but how can we make it easier? I have an amazing friend who bakes like crazy, and well, I have a couple of friends that bake like crazy. and it's so good. And of course, we know it's so much better than bought. However, I stopped baking because I don't want to. So I'm lucky enough that they share some of their goodies with me. And then I'll go to the farmer's market and pick up some things there, which are typically homemade anyway. But some of you may have found too that come February, you're digging it out of the freezer and sadly, throwing some of it out. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I know this was sort of a potpourri episode, short, because I'm sure most of you have a lot to do yet before the clock strikes 12 and Santa tries to wiggle himself down the chimney, which as a kid, I couldn't ever figure that out because we didn't have a fireplace. So I guess he came through the front door. I don't know what my parents told me. Obviously, I believed it as long as I could because I knew I got presents, right? So give yourself the gift of joy, and make it last. Joy, there's a perspective of joy. We can be joyful even if we're sad, and and wisdom, wisdom to just kind of let stuff go. I love that phrase, freedom from attachment and radical acceptance. If we had untied the tree and one side was bald, well, you turn it towards the wall and you decorate the good parts. Like some things just don't matter. Perfection is in the process and it's right in the present in it, and it's whatever it is at that given time. It's perfect the way it is right then and there, because we learn and we deal oh my goodness, we learn and we deal with things in that moment to support us in learning and moving forward. And yeah, so totally unplanned, unscripted, all by myself. Once again, I just really want to thank the guests that helped me kick off Blind Spots for 2025. Thank all of you that are listening, be it once and never again, be it regularly. Thanks to all of you that are sharing and sending ideas and supporting. And I've always got this message to send out to you that if you feel you are struggling with seeing some things, such as how to get organized at Christmas, even though you've been at it for decades, there's still some challenges. Well, then fire it off to me. Send me an email, and I'd be happy to work at talking about whatever your blind spots are. And I just want to wish everyone a happy holidays, regardless of how you celebrate, who you celebrate with, how you celebrate. I remember years ago, I just moved out from my parents and I was broke. So I bought a little tree and I put it in a fishbowl and put rocks in it to stand it on end. And it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it because I had my own apartment and my own little tree. So no matter how you celebrate, just take some time to chill out and relax. Maybe there'll be a burnt turkey. One Christmas, my carrots shrunk, and I don't know what that was about, but I think I had 12 or 14 people for dinner, and we shared 6 carrots. So that was, the equivalent of 6 carrots. It didn't do anything. We all had a good time. We just didn't have a lot of carrots. And if your life is ruined because you don't have enough carrots to serve, well, then we have to have a chat. So just take it easy, have a good time. If you have to work, I hope that you have a couple of moments of joy. And I'm wishing you all the best in the new year. I hope you can all take some time for rest, reflection, and just do whatever makes your heart sing. So all my best to everyone. Thank you to all of you, especially the folks behind the scenes that make this podcast happen, like my Nancy, and I do call her my Nancy because I feel that I'm the only one that she helps in the podcast and the technical aspect, but I know she helps many and does an amazing job at it. So all the best to my friends, and do have a wonderful holiday. Stay safe. Peace and joy to you all, and we will see you come the new year. So all the best.